The Live from the District podcast is for informational purposes only. The views and opinions expressed in this podcast are not those of the host or the management or of Live from the District.
To surmise, in '86, my brother was found strung up on a tree in Montgomery County, Maryland. At the time of his death, he was 19, he was a black male. My mom accepted the ruling as a suicide. Even though we didn't believe he did it, we just, at the time, she's a single black female living in a white county, and back then, Montgomery County was probably one of the richest counties in America. So she did not have the resources, nor information, or knowledge to fight a system.
Live from the district. 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 Live from the district.
All right, welcome to Live from the District. I am Easy Street. My special guest, hey Sherri, how are you?
Hey, Easy, how are you?
All right, Leitra in the building.
Hey, what's going on?
All right, we are live and direct from 12 Stories at the top of the wharf. Isn't it amazing?
It's beautiful. This makes you want to appreciate DC.
Yeah, the view that you get at 12 Stories is so amazing, and the food's off the hook. I want to shout out to Danny and the whole team here for allowing us to shoot live from the district. So just really quick to let you know what this show is about. This show is about interesting Washingtonians and individuals who have incredible stories, and that is why you're here, Sherri. I've been following you. Of course, we have a friendship through the industry. We've been knowing each other for 20-something plus years, of course, with radio and the music industry. We won't get into all that, but on a personal level, something happened to your family long time ago here in Washington, D.C. What happened to your brother, Keith?
So, first of all, I want to say thank you for giving me this opportunity to amplify Keith's story on Live from the District. Nice to meet you again. To surmise, in '86, my brother was found strung up on a tree in Montgomery County, Maryland. And if you're familiar with the district, it's 30 miles, is that west or east of the district? And at the time of his death, he was 19, he was a black male. And when we were told, I was a minor, I wasn't here at the time, my mom accepted the ruling as a suicide. Even though we didn't believe he did it, we just, at the time, she's a single black female living in a white county, and back then, Montgomery County was probably one of the richest counties in America. So she did not have the resources, nor information, or knowledge to fight a system. It wasn't until a couple years later, things started to develop, a couple months rather later, after we buried him, that things started to develop to show us there was more to the story of how my brother got strung up on this tree. Like, for example, the police officer, or the detective rather, destroyed evidence. He manipulated documents. He basically developed a narrative to make us want to believe his story or version of how Keith got on the tree when it was not the truth. And I implore your viewers to go watch. There's a 3-part docuseries that was released last year called Uprooted on Discovery Plus. It's on the streaming platform. If you DM me, I'll tell you I do it for free, but I digress. But that goes into great detail about the 35-year struggle that my family has had to go through just to get justice and accountability in my brother's death. I don't believe my brother was an isolated victim from Montgomery County. I believe there are other people out there, and I do hope that sharing my story will encourage them to come forward to tell their story about the corrupt system of justice that goes on in Montgomery County, Maryland.
We know that it happens everywhere else in this country and worldwide. As far as the corruption, it's been well documented through news accounts and events that have happened all over the world in regards to corruption with law enforcement. And just to keep it a buck right now, we already know we need a 100% overhaul of our criminal justice system here in America to be able to make things more accountable, especially for the African American community. So now, and I'm going to let Leitra ask the next question, but I want to ask you this. So what was it that made you say, my brother did not do this, he did not commit suicide? What was that one thing?
So up until 2009, my mom was the face of this fight. She was the voice, she was behind the camera, she was very vocal and visible with trying to get some type of sense of justice in his death. In 2009, she passed unexpectedly. And in her passing and going through what I went through, I saw all of her work, and I said I could not stop at this. I had to continue her fight just to give some semblance of closure for my family. So, for example, going back to your question, in 1986, when we buried him, July 86, the detective in August went and cut the tree down, even though he closed the case.
He cut the
tree down.
Wait a minute, hold on. Now, this happened behind where you were living.
Yes.
So why would he cut the tree down if he didn't live there? I don't understand that.
So he claimed he was collecting evidence. See, this is a story. So that
30 years later, he goes and
no. A month later.
Oh, okay.
30 days after we buried him, they closed the case.
Trying to cover up
He
stuff.
cut the tree down, right? Claiming he was collecting evidence. Why are you collecting evidence if the case is closed? Right?
Mm-hmm.
Number one. The number two is and again, I implore you, go watch Uprooted. It's on Discovery Plus. I have officials on there, Maryland officials, advocating for my cause, and it goes into great detail. But the clothing that my brother has on the tree when he's strung up, because there are pictures online. I did not put them there. My family didn't. However, they ended up online of Keith on the tree. The clothing that he's in is not the clothing that we got back in 1986. So if you died today, my family should get back everything that you got on, right?
Right.
No. Now, at the time, we got back things that we recognized. We got back his blue hoodie jacket. We got back his brown construction boots. We got back a blue duffel bag, his Jimi Hendrix hat, and I got back the rope, not the noose. Well, my mom did rather. And in the pictures, he has on totally different change of clothes. I don't even recognize the clothing. So the reason why we know there's a discrepancy is because on his birthday, in '94, someone left pictures on our doorstep. Someone went into the police department
In Montgomery County.
Montgomery County.
Retrieving
Got the
information.
negatives, had the negatives developed, put the negatives back, gave us the pictures.
Really?
So at the time, we didn't know if they were trying to help or if they were trying to, and now actually they were trying to help, because you see he's strung up. He's not hanging down. Again, the pictures are online. They're not safe for work. He's strung up. He's not hanging down. The rope is caught in his collar of his shirt. The clothing is not
his clothing.
And so when my mom passed away, all gloves were off. My mom, and I'm going to, again, you can catch if you Google, you'll see her online. My mom was the Felicia Rashad of this fight. I am the Angela Davis. And when I took over their fight, I explained that to Chief Manger, who's now Capitol Hill Police Chief, and I explained the current chief. I'm not my mama. So you're not going to talk to me like I'm 12.
That part.
I'm not being nice to you because all gloves, I ain't got nothing to lose, right? You done took everything from me. They tried to convince me that my brother took a change of clothes to go hang himself. So this is the explanation that they give me.
Wow.
They say that my brother walked a quarter of a mile from where his car was parked, because if you know Montgomery County, and we lived in Georgian Colonies, which is a nice neighborhood, upper near Leisure World. His car was parked at the clubhouse. His body's found like a quarter of a mile from his car. Where his body was found, he could have easily parked his car, right? But the police want me to believe that my brother parked his car at the clubhouse, walked a quarter of a mile carrying a change of clothes, 2 4-pack of wine coolers, a 40-foot rope, and a duff bag full of tapes to go hang himself in the middle of the day. Well, then we don't know what time, because he was not, when his body was found, and again, I implore you to go watch Uprooted. His body, the police detective sent his body, once they released the crime scene as a suicide, and he classified it as a suicide. He released my brother's body to the funeral home of his choice.
Oh, like
He
everybody
did
was
not go.
together.
So he did not go to the morgue. He did not get an autopsy. He did not go to the medical examiner. He went to the funeral home choice of Detective Beasley. And then they decided to tell my mom. Now, if you're familiar with D.C., my mom worked at Walter Reed. Everybody knows Walter Reed was a straight shot down Georgia Avenue, 20 minutes away.
Right.
It took them 6 hours to get to her to tell her child was dead. By the time it got to my mother, Keith was at Collins' funeral home. I was a minor. I'm not in the state, and my rest of my family's in North Carolina. So anyway, and they ordered no autopsy, so his body was embalmed prior to notification. Now, again,
Can they do all that without the family's permission?
That's
I've never heard of a law enforcement agency get involved in the matters of a family, of talking about embalming the bodies, making these personal decisions.
so
Who does
Choosing
that?
the funeral homes.
let
Like,
me-
That all sounds a little weird to me.
yeah.
let me give you some clarity here. So, of course, that came up in my conversation with them. Came with my mom, too. We were told, my mom was told, I was told, that in 1986, it was policy, procedure, that police officers could release bodies to the funeral homes of their choice. So in 2018, I put this online, but I got a lot of information online. Go look online. I requested under the FOIA, Freedom of Information Act, Maryland Public Information Act, MPIA, I requested a copy of the Policy and Police Handbook, showing me in 1986 in writing that police can release bodies. Because my brother could have been Muslim, he could have been Jewish. You don't know what the hell he was. He should have went to a morgue and been identified by my next of kin, which would have been my mother, right? Yeah. I was told in writing, they made me drive 50 minutes to Gaithersburg to pick up this one piece of paper to tell me that there is not one electronic or hard copy of the Policy and Procedure Handbook in Montgomery County from 1986. And the explanation is that they update the book every time they update it, they destroy it.
Wow.
Yes, I got that in writing, by the way.
Wow.
Again, what I'm saying is all verifiable. This is not something that I'm making up. I'm gonna put a nice little bow around it. My simple request today, which I've been fighting for the last probably 6-7 years now, is to get my brother's death certificate updated to reflect the evidence. The evidence shows it's not a suicide. So just meet me in the middle. I'm asking you to go undetermined, right? The detective destroyed every piece of physical information and evidence that an unbiased person could go back and look at. So, for example, I told you, the body didn't go to a morgue, a funeral home. I'm sorry, it didn't go to the coroner. It went to a funeral home. So there was an embalming done, no autopsy done. So the body evidence destroyed.
Right. All that evidence is gone and out the window. You can't do anything with that after it goes through an embalming.
So the rope, my mom kept asking for the noose. We never got back the noose. We got the rope. You see that? I got it in my house. Don't have the noose. They misplaced the noose. The noose could tell you whether a right-handed or a left-handed person tied it around his neck, right? The clothing he has on his body is not what we got back. We were told in 1986 that the clothing was so badly decomposed that they had to destroy the clothing, right? So that's why we didn't see. So we didn't get back the shirt, pants, or underwear, which my uncle.
There's a lot of shenanigans in this,
man.
They just keep destroying everything.
It gets better.
Wow.
Let's circle back.
But this is what they do, though. I mean, this is what they do. No, not to stop you, but this is what they do, and they've been doing this not just inside the criminal justice system. That's their methodology to destroy information. You know,
they're still doing it today.
Yeah, they're still doing it today. I mean, even like the governor of Florida. You know, he's trying to say that this information, you're trying to erase history so you can rewrite a narrative. That's ridiculous, man.
So let's circle back to the most important and probably the biggest piece of corruption and destruction in this case, the tree. So it never dawned on me until about 2 years ago when somebody really broke it down to me. I was like, why was he cutting trees down? The detective was trying to get to the limb. So now, the interesting part about the limb is the limb can tell you whether the rope burns were going up or down, right? My mother was told that he was collecting evidence. My request in 2015 was, I want to see pictures of this tree. If he's cutting trees down for evidence, right? Evidence should go in a file, right? Show me pictures of the tree. There is none. Show me a diagram of the tree. There is none. Where's the branch? The branch got destroyed in the warehouse fire a couple of years later. So the branch, again, can tell you which way the rope was going, up or down. Because, again, go to Uprooted on Discovery Plus. The police, in their information, claimed that Keith used an elaborate rope configuration. He used 2 trees to tie the rope around to get enough tension to drop down to bring himself back up. I'm giving you the bridge version. First, my brother wasn't that bright. Tell you that right now. Very loving, kind guy, but he wasn't mathematician like that. Secondly, who uses 2 trees to hang themselves? And then because they didn't do an autopsy, we don't know specifically what time of day or what time or day he died, right? So if it was in the middle of the night where they claim he killed himself, there's no lights back there. So either he had cat eyes or he was, I don't know. It had been in the middle of the night. And then if it was in the middle of the day, it was behind homes. So somebody would have seen it. So to bring it back around, I can show Montgomery County Police Chief Jones and his whole department how my brother didn't do it. I need you to show me how he did, and they cannot. I have asked for scientific, I've asked for facts, I've asked for documentation. Show me how he did it, and they cannot. But what they want to happen is they want that this black man found strung up on a tree in one of the richest counties in the country to go away, and it's not going to go away. I'm going to continue to have this conversation, and we're going to continue to talk about it.
Awesome. Thank you for sharing that, and that's why we're having this discussion right here on Live from the District. Go ahead.
So how has all of this affected your family?
It has... My family's supportive. Again, go watch your footage, you'll see that. It has played it destroyed my mother. I'm not gonna lie. The day my brother's body was found was the day she probably started losing a little bit of life. And I believe that in her death, she literally had a cold. Like, she lived with me. In 2009, I took her to the hospital because she had a cold. And 2 days later, she's dead. And the doctors at Georgetown, she got transferred from one hospital to another. The doctors at Georgetown could not tell me what killed her. They just know that something killed her. They said it was like a plumber trying to fix a leak. The irony of it is, though, is the day my mom died, which was a Tuesday, she was due to retire from her job at Walter Reed on that Friday for 30 years, right? So me and God had a whole conversation, and I'm very strong in my faith, but damn it if he wasn't testing me that day, because they begged me, the doctors at Georgetown, she had 12 doctors working on her, begged me to do an autopsy. Please, because I want to know what happened, right? Still, autopsy came back unclear. So me and God talked about it, and it was revealed to me that my mom's work here was done, right? That was his nice way of saying, I'm going to take her home, and now you got to figure it out. And I feel like me coming in and stepping in, I've gotten a little bit further than because she tried to play nice. She thought putting on this nice face, not being the angry black woman that that we are interpreted to be, that people don't want to pay attention to, that tune us out. She thought that was going to get her far. Nah, so I was like, I ain't got nothing to lose.
So you got the wrong one.
It is what it is, and see, I've been off my game last couple of months. Like, I get back on my game of messing with them, talking trash, but it is what it is. So.
Well, I'm glad you're doing it because, I'm just thinking about so many other African American men that have and women who have had similar stories and shenanigans with law enforcement, doing these kinds of things. It's been well documented. Well documented.
So let me say this, and I want to put this point out here. I'm not a fan of defund the police. That's not what I want to do. Because if something happens in my house, I'm calling 911. What I am a fan of, though, is transparency in police departments. And the police unions need to go away. Because they are the ones that protect the police officers in their wrongdoings. Mm-hmm. And I literally had in one of my meetings, and this is where I'm going with the transparency part of it, I had a detective, after we found out Detective Beasley cut the tree down, my mom demanded a meeting. Now, the Detective Beasley was white, and he was very disrespectful and rude during this whole process. So I wasn't going to let my mom go by herself. So we go, I'm going to cut to the chase, get to our meeting, because it took a while to get to the meeting. This white man says to my mother, in the midst of her grief, had you been a better mother in front of me, we would be having this conversation. Now, I relayed that conversation, one of my meetings that I had with several officials in the Montgomery County Police Department. I had witnesses there too, so this is not made up. I recalled that same conversation, and one of the police detectives sitting next to me said, yeah, that sounds like something he would say. And I looked at him and said, are you okay with this man demeaning this woman who just lost? I'm not saying it's okay, but I went through the academy with him. That's where I'm going with the transparency. If you know your fellow officer or brother and whatever is over here, can I curse?
Oh, you would like to curse?
Yeah.
Use one curse word only, please.
Over here fucking up.
Yeah, use that one. You could have a softer one.
Nah, because this.
She's one to drop the bomb.
I'm gonna drop the F-bomb because the reality of it is this is why we are where we are with the police departments. You sitting here knowing that just like with the Freddie Gray, all them officers colluding together to cover up this man. You know that. I don't care what that boy was doing. He did not deserve to die.
Right.
Just like with my brother. My brother could have been the Manuel Noriega of Wheaton, Maryland. To not investigate his death because you didn't want to be bothered, because that was also told to me by witnesses that were there, that are on camera on the Uprooted series, that it was said, why did this have to happen during my lunch hour? Really? And are you okay with this? And so you have a police chief who's sitting now in a seat that can reverse his decision, or the decision, right? But he wants to throw it on the medical examiner's office. Because again, let me say this, people. If you're fighting a situation like mine, read up on the law, read up on what changes you can make. Because I found out that House Bill 863, which is a House bill that I was asked by Delegate Bartlett to testify or write a testimony for in February. Up until last month, if someone died in Maryland, their family had 60 days to challenge a death certificate, right? For the medical examiner's office. Now, in that time frame, you dealing with grief, you trying to bury your loved one, you trying to take care of their last effects. House Bill 863 was extended to 6 months. So, at the time, my mom didn't know the law. See, that's the other thing that kind of pigeonholed her and kind of handicapped her. She didn't understand the law. And see, what they do is they use the laws against us because we don't like to read. I'm not going to say we, but
right.
You know, until I was approached about House Bill 863, I didn't know that you know this really mattered.
Right.
But I've been a part of helping other families to deal with their grief in a timely fashion, because you're not, again, when your family loved one dies, you're not trying to figure out how they died at that moment. You just mourning their loss. And what police departments will do, which they did to my mom, they'll delay police reports, they'll delay medical examiner's reports, they'll delay reports so that you don't have enough time to challenge. See, it's a game of chess.
Right.
Manipulation.
Absolutely,
Right.
but this is what they do, and they've been doing it for a very long time. And Sherri, I really appreciate you coming through to tell your story. We'll keep you lifted up in prayer, and my hope and prayer is that at somewhere down the line that justice will be served for your brother Keith. Yeah. What are your hopes beyond that?
I hope people go out and vote. I hope people pay attention to laws that are being implemented. I know there's a whole bunch of conversation with the new generation about, oh, my vote don't count. Your vote does count. Every vote counts. Know who you voting for. That's how that clown in Florida got in. Like, y'all got to be very careful about what you don't want to participate in, what you want to participate in. And don't get mad when it works against you when you don't participate.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you for
All right.
having me.
Our sister, Sherri Warren, God bless you and your family, and I really appreciate you coming on to talk to us here live from the district. All right.
Live from the district. 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 Live from the district.